Hey, Hope Haven. I hope you all are doing well. So, it has been a few weeks since I have recorded a video or came to you guys um, with any kind of message. And today I want to um, go over and talk about a couple of topics, just kind of give you an update, talk about current events, and talk about our reopening plans. First, I want to address current events that are going on. I imagine, like many of you, the last few weeks have been difficult and emotional. I know they have been for me. And, I wasn't sure of the best way to address that and talk to people about it. And, I had lots of things within myself that I had to, lots of emotions with myself that I had to come to grips with before even addressing and talking about it on an organizational level. So one of the things, that I want to just touch base and what I want to say is thank you. Um, I know that the last few weeks have been really hard. And so, of course, with Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and the countless other things that continue to stack up, um, that it's difficult to come to work with things like that, with a global pandemic weighing on everybody's minds and hearts. It's difficult, but you guys came, you showed up, you advocated, you cared, and you connected with our individuals anyways. And so I want to say first, before I go into anything, thank you um, for continuing to come even when it's extremely difficult. Um, the next thing that I want to um, touch base on is talk about what I am going to do in response to these things. And my personal. So I think my commitment and what I plan on doing, especially with CARF coming up, that's already happening. It's a great time. I do plan on looking at all of Hope Haven's policies and procedures and making sure that we are not perpetuating institutionalized racism and perpetuating any sort of barriers with our policies and procedures. I know, that is a really important part of being actively anti-racist, is ensuring that our systems and institutions support people of color. And it's my job to do that. And as a person of color myself, it's extremely important to me that Hope Haven is not participating and, in fact, is actively anti racist in their policies and procedures. So I wanted to just say that, but most importantly, above all of that, I wanted to thank each and every one of you guys for coming to work during an extremely difficult time with lots and lots of raw emotions, anger, frustration, fear. Um, y'all still show up every day. And that means a lot to me, and it means so much to our individuals and their families. And so, thank you. Now I'm going to move into the reopening plan. and or shelter in place or what information we have. So last Thursday, June 11th, Governor Kemp came out with another executive order, and this executive order very specifically outlined it removed a lot of restrictions, but it very specifically outlined who should continue to shelter in place. And in that order, one of the categories he specifically named that people who live in community living arrangements, which is the four sites that we operate, are community living arrangements, that people who live in that setting should continue to shelter in place. So what that means for us and our specific group home settings is that we will continue to shelter in place. That executive order does go through the end of the month of June 30th. So we will wait and see if there's anything specific that happens from there. But for as far as people who are in our CRA program, you need to continue to shelter in place, which means that you should not be participating in any activities outside the home other than essential activities. Now, for staff and folks who work there, of course, some of you may fall into the criteria that is listed. I will attach it to the SCOM that I'm sending this link to so you can see it for yourself. But I do continue to still ask, which is an incredibly hard ask because I know I am fatigued of shelter in place. I am fatigued. I want to go out. I want to enjoy. I want to do things. However, we don't want to be bringing the virus back to our individuals. So I would ask that if you guys please do your best to continue to only run essential errands, continue to use safe practices, wear a face mask when in public, and keep yourself physically distanced 6 feet away from those when you are out in the public. To help keep our individuals safe who are extremely vulnerable population to this specific virus. The next thing about reopening, I know there's been a ton of questions and talk around this, and here is the honest to God truth, is I don't know. There's so much information out there, and as an organization, we have the utmost responsibility to protect our staff and our individuals who will be at the program. It's not just about the individuals, it's also about us being able to keep you, our employees, safe. And so we are meeting every single Thursday with a work group of people, and we are literally walking the floors of our center. We are, any sort of idea that we propose, we are trying it ourselves. We are looking at logistics. We also are trying to understand what supplies we need, because there are 3 things that need to happen for us to open. And it is, we have to ensure health and safety practices and routines are in place. We have to have the supplies to do that. And we have to be able to sustain vigilance around those practices. And so we are ensuring that we have the ability to do that. If I can't get enough hand sanitizer to keep everybody safe and their hands clean, that's a limit, a barrier to us opening safely. So we are actively working on that. Hopefully, I would love sometime in the month of July for us to be able to resume some form of services, of day program services. However, at this time, I am not confident enough to say a date or be more specific than that. We have a lot of work to do. We've been actively working on those things. And we just need to be able to feel really sure that we can keep people safe, particularly those people who may be high risk and also not be able to comply with best practices to keep them safe. Those are things we have to work out. Yeah, that is kind of it. I wish I had something concrete or more solid to report. I will tell you that we are working with partners across our state, including, up to DBHDD and our state leadership, but I'm also actively working and partnering with other local organizations like the Athens Community Council on Aging, and understanding what their population is doing and how they are doing things. I'm reaching out to sister organizations to ensure that Hope Haven is in compliance and aligning with all of the best practices, put out by CDC and the World Health Organization. Yeah, I think that's it. That's my update. The last thing I want to talk about, sorry, I did forget, is testing. So at this point, testing is readily available in our community, and I would encourage all of our staff, if you wish to do so, to go get tested and just understand understand what your status is, to know what we need to do, and especially as we reopen, that is going to be an important component to ensuring everybody's safety, is that we know when we start that everybody is healthy and safe. So I will put links on where to do that also in this SCOM. All right. Yeah, you guys, thank you so much. I see my video is nearing 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap it up. But mainly, I want to just say thank you. I'm grateful that you are all here, and I have so much gratitude to be a part of this team.